You know, I was a happy child, really, really active. And I had these parents that wanted us to find the one activity that we loved. But when they put me in skating, I knew I had found my calling. I skated from the time that I was about 3 or 4 years old up to the time I started to have some symptoms. I was 22. And so I just sort of locked myself in my apartment. And I was lucky that my mom came. She coaxed me out of my apartment and took me to the hospital where I was admitted at 22. And I actually never put my skates on again. Life became very difficult and incredibly lonely. I suddenly wasn't known as student and skater and all those types of things. I was known as psychiatric patient, and it was a very different title to have, and I was treated very different in the world. So in 2001, I was standing looking out the front doors of the hospital, and it had been snowing for days and days and days. It was just white. And something in me told me to write. And I'd never been a writer, but I listened to this and I started to write, and it was like as if it was sort of a calling. And all of a sudden, it was like color came back on. And I began to love to write as much as I loved to skate. And it was so healing. And from that moment on, I worked at recovery. And I came to a point where I really could see the stigma. And it became so clear to me, the stigma that surrounds mental illness. And I thought, what can I do to help this, to help remedy this? And I thought, I have words. And so I'm able to write about my experience and articulate what it is like to be unwell. But I also thought I can speak about it. And I have to tell you that when I first started speaking, I was terrified of it. But I was kind of resolute that I was going to share my story, that I was going to use it to make some change. Fighting Normal is an art installation that I co-produced with a friend of mine who's a painter, Laurie McFadden. Would pull lines from my poems and create these images. And so her paintings hung on the wall, and then my text was underneath. It was a show to sort of evoke feelings of hope, but also the struggle. And we had a huge response, and we put a book together, and the book has done very well. I always say, if I can reach one person, if I can just teach one person, if I could just change one person's idea of mental illness, it's all worth it.